Hi guys, welcome to our channel. So I'm with Mr. Abdulhafiz, right?
Yeah, I do get it.
Adobe Arrow is the CEO of Adobe Arrow Farms, and he'll be telling us a lot of things about oil plantation, which is something a lot of people are interested in, and it's a lifetime investment for new coming farmers. A lot of people are going into, all these small things that, by the time you plant it in the next 4 months, you've harvested, but they are not long-term investment. So there are a lot of investment options for farmers or
Yeah.
intending farmers.
Yes, we
Why
are.
is it different?
Okay, so I specifically do advise people to go into oil palm farming because it's an aspect of farming that the risk is very low when you compare to short-term crops. And of course, like it's a tree crop, it's a cash crop, and um, you only need to do all the stress at the beginning. When you are setting up the farm, when you are planting, it takes some years before you start reaping from the investment. That's correct. But then, as soon as you start harvesting, as soon as the tree is grown, you keep making money. For decades, for decades. There are a lot of the larger portion of the palm oil we are still consuming in Nigeria as of today are inherited. They were not planted by this generation. They were inherited. So this tells us that it's a source of source of income for decades. And you keep getting revenue from it.
And value.
Yeah, and value. Yeah,
For a newbie
yeah,
who wants to go into this now,
yeah.
what do you think are things that he might need
Mm,
apart from land?
yeah.
Do you think we can plant it anywhere, or is
Mm.
there particular types of land that palm tree do well on?
Okay, so it's better. It is better planted in rainforest area or our rain pattern in southwest, basically southwest, southeast, south south, and some part of north. Maybe north central, but not the far
Not
northern
the core
states.
nuts.
Yeah, not the core north states. Yeah, so our rain pattern, supports the growth of palm trees. And so for a starter, what you really need is the land. Of course, I would not advise you to plant in a rented land or a leased land. It has to be your land, right? So that is it. So once you have your land, the next is the seedlings, right? And now the seedlings, you have to be sure of the seedlings. There's traditional the oil palm variety that the wild traditional variety, which takes about 5 years before it starts fruiting. Then there is Tenera. Tenera has been around for a while now. Tenera variety takes 3 years before it starts fruiting. So once you plant and you manage it well, in 3 years' time you start harvesting. Then there is Super Gene. Super Gene is the most recent Malaysian hybrid, and it takes 2 years after you plant it before it starts fruiting. So that's it. So once you have your land, you have the seedlings, then the next thing is to plant, right? But then there are some technical
Mm.
things to take note because there is an appropriate planting population per acre. It's about 60 seedlings per acre, and there is, the standard spacing, and um, there is a form at which it takes. It's planted in triangular form, and so that way you plant 60 seedlings per acre. Then after planting, the major thing is just management, taking care of the weed, making sure that the weeds doesn't overgrow and take over the farm. Keep cutting the weed, then you apply fertilizers, and that's all. So it's very easy to manage. It's a lot easier to manage than short-term crops, and it is predictable. Like you can say that in 20 you are planting in 2024, by 2027 the range of what you're expecting, right? Another thing why I usually advise people to invest in oil palm farming is that um your value of investment doesn't reduce. In a country like Nigeria, where our currency value varies, 2 years ago it was 500 naira. Right now it is 1.5 or more, like triple of what it was before. Against the dollar, like one third of what the value about 2 years ago, right? but it's a forex commodity. Palm oil is a forex commodity, and forex commodity means that these are commodities that are either exported out of Nigeria or are imported into Nigeria. Also in this category is cocoa, is cashew nuts, and the likes. They are exported out of the country, right? For palm oil in particular, we import palm oil. We import as much as one third of the palm oil we consume. And as a matter of fact, our importation of palm oil increased by almost 50% in 2023, right? There is growing increase of demand for palm oil in Nigeria, and it is being imported, So the difference in our exchange rates is directly affecting. You can find out the price of palm oil in the last 5 years. The price of palm oil in the last 5 years has at least doubled of what it was 5 years ago, right? So that's why I advise people to invest in palm oil farming, rather than maybe building house for rent, or some other forms of investment that the inflation doesn't really translate to your income, right? So for if you invest in palm oil farming, you are sure that the value of your investment does not reduce; it will continue to increase also.
Thank
So
you.
that's it.
You mentioned so many varieties,
Yeah.
species. Do you have them here? Which one are these ones?
Okay. On this place, what we
Okay.
have here is super gin. We do not have tenera here. So this is phase two of our farm. This is the phase two of our farm estate off Lagos Ibadan Express. We have other ones in Iwo. We have 7 farm estates in Iwo. Right. This is actually the list. This is 10 acres. Right. We have other ones in Iwo. So, but here, this is where we nurse super gin. So this variety is super gin, all of them. They take 2 years, and you can see these ones that are grown here, they dropped on the ground when we were nursing them. When we were nursing them, you can see the stage they are now. Like, they were not intentionally planted. They were not transplanted as a seedling, right? So I imagine the level they are now. Some of them are even almost fruiting. If you check for so so you can show that Tenera cannot give you, because a lot of people have like, what's the difference between Tenera and Super Gene? Tenera cannot do this, in a year plus. This is less than 2 years, and we did not give it a single grain of fertilizer. We did not give it a single grain of fertilizer. So if it was planted as a seedling and we give it fertilizer, apparently in 2 years it starts fruiting. We have fruiting trees, that so it's not theoretical. It's what we have done, and it's what we know.
So, if one wants to go into this now,
Yeah.
what's the average capital that one should be looking at for people who are actually interested and may want to plan for this?
Mm. Okay, so basically, the major thing is uh, it depends. The cost varies
Yeah,
because of your location, logistics. There are a lot of things that determines the amount you spend, right? Your access to labor. If you have labor around you, or you will be sourcing for labor. But on the average, you can prepare about 500,000 naira per
to
acre. So aside the land, the seedling for an acre is just 100,000, maybe about 70,000 or thereabout. you know and cost of planting about 60,000 naira per acre, because you use wire mesh to protect each of the seedlings, to protect it from pests that cuts it, right? So planting about 60,000 per acre, the seedling about 70,000 per acre, that's less than 200,000. Then fertilizer and weeding.
for people who are actually interested but they don't have the technical know-how and they don't have the capable hands to help them to manage it, at least to start, do you have that kind of resources to
Yes,
help?
at Adubero Farms, we don't only sell seedlings. We sell seedlings apparently, but we do not only sell the seedlings. We run for everybody that we sell seedlings for. We give them free consultancy service. We are with them throughout the project. To see how their plants do, how they plant, do they use the standard spacing, the fertilizer and all of that. So we also render, so for those who do not have capable hands to help them do that, we have people, workers that we send to help people plant. So we also render farm setting up and management service. That means we can help you set up the farm and we can help you manage the farm as well, right? As we speak right now, we have 100 acres in somewhere in Ogun State around Ayetoro, that is being cleared as we speak, and the person wants to plant super gene oil palm. And in Owode, as I speak right now, also in Ogun State, our staffs are there as we speak that are planting over 20 acres of oil palm for a customer too. So we render farm setting up and management service as well. We set up the farm and we can also help in managing the farm.
So there's a major challenge that a lot of people encounter, or probably people discuss, that the men that used to climb palm trees, most of them are dead, or some say some of them are Calabar people. This thing. Do you still think people have that resource, or there's new innovations that help processing to become much easier?
Okay, so first about harvesting oil palm or palm fruits is that the new varieties from Tenera upward, we have some other varieties in between Tenera and Super Gin. There's Kali 600, there is, Yambagi. We have about two or three hybrids in between Tenera and Super Gin. But all recent hybrids are dwarf. That means the rate of increase in their height every year is low. It doesn't grow very tall within 5-10 years like the older varieties, right? That means in about 10 years, it is still going to be within the reach of someone standing to harvest, right? And even when it gets tall, there are new technologies now. We don't have the equipment here. It's in one of our estates in Iwo. We can still find time to get there sometimes later. So it's palm palm harvester, and it has extensions, so it depends on what height do you want to reach. So you attach it, and so from you standing, you don't have to climb
The
the
true.
palm trees before you can harvest the palm fruits for processing.
Yeah. For people who are actually interested, who might be watching this video
Yeah,
and are interested, how do they contact you?
yeah.
And how do you sell the seedlings?
Yeah, so the super gene seedlings is 1,200 naira per seedling, but Tenera oil palm seedling is 600 naira per seedling, and we can even give discounts if you are buying bulk. If you are, even let's say if you are buying 1,000 seedlings or thereabout, we can give some discount. So Tenera seedling is 600 naira, super gene is 1,200 naira.
That's
We have other seedlings,
presently in
yeah,
2000 because the
in
price
2000
change.
yeah, in 2024. We have other seedlings as well. Actually, we have coconut seedlings. We have, if you look over there, there are either tips of plantain suckers. We are currently harvesting 20,000 suckers to be supplied to a customer. So pineapple, plantain, coconut, cashew, cocoa, what have you. We have other seedlings as well. But for oil palm, 1,200 naira for super gin and 600 naira for Tenera.
Do you have a price range for others so that
Yeah, for the others, yeah, for plantain, 200 naira per sucker, for pineapple, 100 naira per sucker, for cocoa, 400 naira per seedling, for cashew, 400 naira per seedling, and the list goes. Just tell us what you want and we get them for you. So, sorry, one more thing that I should mention. The difference between Tenera and Super Gin is not only the maturity period, it's not only the number of years it takes to start fruiting. Aside the fact that it takes 2 years for super gene to start fruiting and takes 3 years for tenor to start fruiting, the yearly production of super gene is a
capacity?
lot more than what tenera would give you. Is a lot more than what tenera would give you.
Oh,
About at least twice of what you would get per acre of tenera is what you get per acre of super gene.
wow.
Yeah.
So your contacts
Okay.
details, your number,
Yeah,
hotline.
Adubero Farms, you can reach us through 0915 951 0865. 0915 951 0865. You can check us on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram, and you can check our website www.adubiarofarms.com. On Facebook, just search for Adubiaro Farms. On Instagram, just check for Adubiaro Farms.
So where are we now? This is Ibadan. Where?
Yes, this is Ibadan. These are phase two. This is the phase two of our farm estate. Adubiaro Farms Estate phase two off Lagos Ibadan Express, Ibadan. The remaining, the phase one and the other phases are in Iwo in Osun State.